And we do start with breaking news as Pope Francis remains in the hospital in critical condition. The Vatican, though, saying that he rested well overnight. And in fact, the Pope himself.
Pope Francis shares written message while continuing hospitalization. We are told that the Pope is not feeling too good. And there is already a talk about having a successor to replace the Pope. So what's wrong with the Pope? He has double pneumonia. Double pneumonia is a lung infection that affects both of your lungs. The infection inflames the air sacs in your lungs or the alveoli, which fills the fluid or pus. This inflammation makes it hard to breathe. So the Pope is having breathing issues. Let's take a listen to this video here. We're going to share some thoughts and speak about that for a moment. And I got a number of questions I'm going to be asking you as well. Friends, what does this say for Bible prophecy, especially for those of us who are looking at this? There may be some people watching this video who are Roman Catholic. How do you feel about that in the condition of the Pope as well? We're going to read a number of thoughts and comments as we speak about this matter. First, let's begin with this video.
This morning, Pope Francis remains in critical condition at Gemelli Hospital in Rome. Doctors say he's receiving high-flow oxygen as part of his treatment for pneumonia in both of his lungs. In its latest statement on the Pope's condition, the Vatican says the 88-year-old underwent more tests Sunday as doctors treat apparent complications from his illness. The pontiff showing slight signs of decreased kidney function, but his doctors say it's under control.
These are complications that you can sometimes see patients who are hospitalized and dealing with severe illnesses and severe conditions when they are battling these conditions for a prolonged period of time, or, when they're really sick.
Vatican officials say Pope Francis attended Mass on the 10th floor of the Gemelli Hospital Sunday morning. While outside the hospital, the faithful gathered to pray for the Pope's recovery. And at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York, hundreds also gathering in prayer, led by Cardinal Timothy Dolan.
We of the Catholic family, and so many of our friends and neighbors, find ourselves this morning at the bedside of a dying father, as our Holy Father, Pope Francis, is in very, very fragile health and probably close to death.
There's a lot of thought and perspective about this matter for the faithful. Some are hurting, but there are a lot of people who don't really care about the condition of the Pope, even among Catholics themselves. Let's read a few comments here. It is one thing to disagree with Pope Francis while he is healthy and running around the world and making statements. It's quite another to disparage a man in his sick bed with vitriol and hate. Do better. Whoa.
How much do you, because I kind of, okay, so my kids know I'm not crazy about Francis. Like, they know. But I also don't tell them when Fiducia Supplicans comes out and they're blessing gay couples. You know what I mean? I don't tell them about that. They just know kind of Daddy doesn't, I don't think Daddy likes this Pope that much. It's kind of
In this comment, we have Ray Patrick stating that nobody likes this guy. He destroyed the Catholic Church.
Reading the reports like everybody else about Pope Francis, and I wanted to make just a brief comment about that, because a lot of people have been saying, I've been seeing a lot of things coming in saying, well, I'm praying for Pope Francis. I'm praying that he has a full and complete recovery.
Yeah, so there are some likes and dislikes when it comes to the Pope. According to Auntie Smartassi, Pope Francis' health is critical. He's done more for human rights than any pope in my lifetime, she says, and I wish him a peaceful transition. Okay. Lizzie says on X, praying that he repents and puts his faith in Jesus Christ alone. Share with me your perspective about the condition of the Pope and what does that say to you? Are you a Roman Catholic? Are you a Protestant? Do you feel like, well, it is what it is. It's none of my business. Are you going to be praying for the Pope? Anyway, let's have the conversation. I want to quickly transition now to speak about some of the people that are already being considered to replace Mr. Pope Francis.
Say these 8 cardinals are the top contenders to become the most powerful Catholic in the world. Number 8, Cardinal Pietro Parolin, age 70, from Italy. The Vatican's Secretary of State is considered politically moderate and has been a favorite among odds makers. Number 7. Cardinal Fridolin Ambongo Masungu, age 65, from the Democratic Republic of Congo. The African leader made headlines when he rejected a controversial doctrine from Pope Francis, which allowed priests to bless same-sex marriages. Number 6. Cardinal Wim Eijk, age 71, from the Netherlands. The former medical doctor is seen as one of the most conservatives of the frontrunners, calling remarriages a form of adultery. Number 5. Cardinal Peter Erdo, age 72, from Hungary. Erdo has also opposed divorce and remarriage, as well as European countries accepting refugees, likening it to human trafficking. Number 4. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, age 67, from the Philippines. Dubbed the Asian Pope Francis, Tagle is considered left-leaning politically and would be the first pope elected from Asia. Number 3. Cardinal Raymond Burke, age 76, from the United States of America. The Wisconsin native is an arch-conservative and a proponent of Latin Mass. In the 1960s, the Vatican Council began allowing Catholics to have Mass in their native languages. Number 2. Cardinal Mario Grech, age 67, from Malta. Hailing from the small island country of Malta off the coast of Sicily, Grech is considered a potential moderate successor of Pope Francis. And number 1. Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, age 69, from Italy. The Vatican insider was born in Rome and has carried out high-profile missions for Francis, including meeting with President Zelensky in Ukraine and noted Catholic President Joe Biden. As for which cardinal will be elected as the heir to St. Peter, Jesus' right-hand disciple, that's up to the conclave. Only 138 of the 253 cardinals worldwide will be able to serve as electors in the next conclave, and no cardinals over the age of 80 can participate in voting.
If you were to ask me, I will simply say this. Pope Francis has already done his job. The thing that he's been assigned to do, he's already done it. And that, in particular, was to fulfill these ecumenical dialogues among different denominations and other faiths. He was here fulfilling some of the elements and principles found in Vatican II.
Pope Francis is without doubt a man of the Second Vatican Council.
For sure.
If somebody wants to understand Pope Francis and his way of proceeding and his leadership, needs to go back to the experience, to the decrees, and to the development of the church provoked by the Second Vatican Council.
Okay, so the Pope has really done his job. Now, you may say he's not a conservative, he was more liberal. That's not the point prophetically. What matters here is whether or not he did the work that he's been assigned to do. And that he certainly has. Now, do we agree with that work? That's a whole nother discussion in itself.
Interreligioso. One of the things that struck me about all of you here is your ability to engage in interreligious dialogue. If we start to fight amongst ourselves and saying, my religion is more important than yours, my religion is true, yours is not, where will that lead us?
Dove?
Where will it lead us? Someone respond. Where would it lead us? La distruzione.
Si vuole litigare.
Yes, it's okay to discuss and to...
Tutte le religioni sono un cammino per arrivare a Dio.
Because every religion is a way to arrive at God.
Per arrivare lì.
Sort of a comparison, an example would be they're sort of like different languages in order to arrive at God.
But understand this, from a prophetic standpoint, Pope Francis has done his work. Now, let me share this. There's been a lot of Seventh-day Adventists. I remember making statements such as, this is the last Pope. We got to stop saying stuff like this. First of all, let's move on. We are told in Bible prophecy, the best way to understand the prophecies is by looking at the signs of the times. I used to hear so many people will use Revelation 17. In verse 10, you had stuff like this, right? And people will use passages like this. And I will say these are God-fearing men and women in my denomination, in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, doing this, right? They were saying these are the 7 kings and 5 are fallen and 1 is and the other one is not yet. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. So they were applying this to the Pope. They were making this prophecy to be centered on an individual in Roman Catholicism. I never felt good about this. And they went on to say in Revelation 17, verse 10, this was oftentimes used to say the Pope Francis has to be the last Pope. These are the end times. Christ is coming again. And they will say there are 7 kings and 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other one is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and he's of the 7th, and goeth into perdition. I've heard so many Bible prophecies, teachers, men that I love and respect, using this passage to say, this is the last Pope, man. This is it. He's the 8th head. I never felt comfortable with this. That's why I've never said a thing like that. Because I've come to realize the prophecies are centered around events, not so much individuals. Individuals can play a role in fulfilling prophetic events, but we must not focus on a single man. So even when we talk about the system of the papacy as the antichrist of Bible prophecy, we have to keep in mind is bigger than one individual. So when we go to Matthew chapter 16, Jesus spells it out for us. He says here, and the Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, tempting desire him that he should show them a sign from heaven. And he answered and said unto them, wherein it is evening, you said it is fair. It will be fair weather, for the sky is red. When it is morning, it will be foul weather. Today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, listen to the few words now. You can discern the face of the sky, but you cannot. But can ye not discern the signs of the times? So what is Jesus saying here in principle is look at the signs of the time to discern what time it is. It is the prophetic signs, the events outlined in the Bible, Matthew 24, Mark 15, Mark 16, Luke 17, Luke 21. These are the things we need to look at and carefully study in the light of Revelation so that we can better make sense of what is happening. Daniel, Revelation, and the book of Matthew, Mark, and those chapters where Jesus outlined the signs. So we have to look at the signs so that we don't make the same mistake. And I think I love how Danny Shelton in that message, we are not the true church, said it. And I really appreciate what he said. And he was speaking from the context of Project 2025 and how oftentimes we misinterpret prophetic signs and we create a false misconception of Bible prophecy and its fulfillments, and we end up losing credibility. And I really appreciate him saying that, because we can study Bible prophecy without, kind of aiming and missing the mark over and over again. We have to stop making these mistakes.
When any group such as 2025 group of Christian conservative Republican leaders, referred to by the left as sometimes white Republican Christian nationalists, go public with their agenda, some Adventists want to cry out, the Sunday law is coming, the Sunday law is coming. Now, it seems they lose focus on the big picture and concentrate totally on the new threat. Now, I want to insert here that basically the 2025 group, or project they call it, representing many evangelical Christians, is nothing new from the right side of politics. I'm not saying don't follow their every move. We need to follow them. I'm just saying don't leave the back door of your church open for the devil to come in while you're crying Sunday law at the front door, because we as SDAs have a history of doing that. You remember, I'm old enough to remember when John F. Kennedy ran for president. Nearly all Adventists voted against him. Why? Because they were sure he being Catholic would bring about a national Sunday law. Then when Jerry Falwell, right? You remember, anybody old enough to remember Jerry Falwell started his moral majority, many SDAs predicted this would bring about the end. Then when Pat Robertson ran for president, once again, many people started crying out, the Sunday law is coming. The Sunday law is coming. And now it's 2025 project that has some of us in an uproar. My suggestion is we be balanced.
Amen.
My suggestion is we be balanced. Don't try to make something if it's not there. If we cry wolf too long, no one will listen to us, right? When it finally comes to pass.
I love that. We have to be balanced. And I love that. So, yes, I'm just using this to show you whenever we see a man in particular, right, and we're trying to center the prophecy on the individual is problematic. And when the individual passes away, listen, I can tell you, I remember when John Paul II was elected, right? And I'm telling you, every 70 minutes was saying, that's it, that we are done. And then Pope Benedict XVI came and took his place. Oh, that's it. He's the last Pope. Oh. Friends, we got to stop doing that. And then Pope Francis, same exact thing. We need to keep our eyes on the events fulfilling Bible prophecy, and we must not keep making these mistakes. I'm going to come back to the Pope, but I'm just using this to make a point saying we need to correct the way we approach prophetic events and stop making a mistake because it destroys our credibility in the message of the Bible. We know what the Bible says are going to take place. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm advocating for these things, and I will speak and preach these matters, but let's not keep running around with the same misinterpretation and application of prophecies. And then we fall back into a moment of leisure and calmness and carnal security. It's not safe. We are told here again, we are reading from letters and manuscript. These relate to future events. We are told, which disclose in their order. And I want you to keep that term in mind. Prophetic events are going to take place in their order. And this is dealing particular with the seals and the seven thunders, but the principle is still the same for you and I. Daniel shall stand in his lot, right, in the end of days. John see the little book unsealed. Daniel prophecies have their proper place in the first, second, and third angel's message to be given to the world. The unsealing of the little book was the message in relation to time. So you got this element. Here is another principle. GC 598, paragraph 1. It is not enough to have good intention. It is not enough to do what a man thinks is right or what a minister tells him is right. His soul salvation is at stake. He should search the scriptures for himself. However may be his conviction, however confident he may be that the minister knows what is truth, this is not his foundation. So we're not blaming the ministers either, because we can't rely on a single man. Don't even rely on me. What I'm saying is we need to study for ourselves. He has a chart, we are told, and this is crucial. He has a chart pointing out every waymark on the heavenward journey, and he ought not to guess at anything. We must not be guessing because the prophetic events are clearly outlined in the Bible. And with the help of spirit of prophecy, they are magnified. So we can look and understand where we are in the prophetic events. We are told here, you shall receive power, 234. The truth that has been unfolded in their order. The order is very crucial. And as we have advanced along the line of prophecy revealed in the Word of God, our truth, sacred and eternal truth today, those who pass over the ground, step by in the history of our experience, seeing the chain of truth in prophecies. Look at the chain of prophetic events and follow where this thing is going. There are some things that are yet to take place prophetically, but we must be ready and remain ready, right? We are told now they were passing to accept and were prepared to accept and to obey every ray of light. They were praying, fasting, searching, and digging for the truth as for hidden treasures. And the Holy Spirit, we know, was teaching and guiding us. Friends, this is the attitude we need to have in these last days. One more and I'm done. One more and I am done. We're not going to read the whole thing. There are those now living who, in studying the prophecies of Daniel and John, receive great light from God as they pass over the ground where special prophecies were in process of fulfillment, where in their order. They bore the message of time to the people. The truth shone out clearly as the sun at noonday. Historical events showing the direct fulfillment of prophecy were set before the people of God, and the prophecies were seen to be a figurative delineation of events leading down to the close of this earth history. This is why we are historicists in prophetic interpretation. We carefully examine historical events as fulfilling Bible prophecy. Let's not cry wolf when it's not the case at all today. When it comes to Mr. Pope Francis, I would like to hear from you. But I think there is something for us to learn here and understand and examine. What kind of Pope do you think is going to be elected? Do you think it's going to be another liberal Pope or more conservative Pope? I would like to hear from you. Let's have the conversation in the comment below. I hope this was good. I hope this was clear. I hope you understand the message as well. Share your thought and perspective with me. Until next time, have a good one. Bye.